record to cloud, and I'm going to share my screen. Share. So, I guess, right, Mark? So you just correct me if I'm wrong. You guys did the last question was the 127, 127. And then to finish this chapter, which, let me just come back here. There's a huge one that's about the spirit. And let's just come back a little bit. You guys were just finishing to study the order of spirits. And the last order was the first, the pure spirits. So now to finish this part, we are going to talk about angels and demons. So Mark, if you can, could you read the first question? I mean, the first question of this part, 128.
Do angels, archangels, and seraphim constitute a special category different than that of other spirits? No, they are pure spirits. Those who have reached the highest degree of the latter are all united in perfection. The word angel generally implies the idea of a moral perfection, but it is often applied to all superhuman beings, good or bad. Therefore, we say a good angel, a bad angel, an angel of light, the angel of darkness, and so on. In those cases, it is synonymous with spirit. It is employed here in its most popular sense.
You wanted to comment?
Pretty self-explanatory.
Oh, yes, it is.
That there is that, that angels and demons are really not angels and demons. They're just spirits of the 10 orders.
Yes, basically that. And when they ask if they are if they are a category different than the other spirits, no, they started, their spiritual life, if I may say like this, in an imperfection way, like everybody else. And I mean, when I say angels, because at least in Brazil, when you say angels, we refer to pure spirits. But in some cultures, you can say, as they say, the angel of darkness or the bad angel, But angel in general, as Mark said, it's just spirits. But if normally when we refer to angels, it's just to talk about it, pure spirits, let's say like that. But yeah, it's just a name. And just implies, as says he, the moral perfection, let's say. But it's just a name. They're always spirits, basically that. Okay, Jimmy, you want to say something?
That's an interesting view. I like it, but some of the other mystical traditions believe that angels were never in human form. That they were, even though they're very connected to humanity and have a certain amount of humanity that they obviously can relate to, they were never in a human form.
So this is a very interesting point of view, Jim. Sorry, there we were just.
No, but I mean, doesn't matter to me. I'm just.
No, but you're gonna get there an explanation about that, because so many people think like that. He's still thinking like that, but it's very interesting, this point of view. So, would you like to do the 129?
Who?
You.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Have the angels passed through every degree of progress? Yes, but with the difference that we already mentioned, some of them accepting their mission with resignation have reached their goal more quickly, while others take longer in reaching the same goal. if the opinion that acknowledges that some beings have been created perfect.
Oh, no, there's a question 130. Just a second. Just a second.
Oh, okay.
Just a second. So let's hold there.
All right.
As you were saying, when they, in a matter of angels here, it's spirits. Okay, just switch this word. Angel
Okay.
spirits pass through every degree of progress. Yes, every single spirit that God's created go through every degree. And when they say here, some of them accepting their mission with resignation and go quickly, and others take longer, like everybody we know. We know some people that are ready for whatever they have to face in life, have some people that they're not, because we are in different, let's say, I'm not say level, because if I give an example to be on Earth, we're kind the same level, a little bit one more here, others more there, but we're kind the same. But well, I'm pretty sure Eugene, Mark, myself, we know people that no matter what happened in life, they were always smiling and take life easy, and some other people, it's just a matter of something very small happening in life, they're like just they don't know how to face. It's basically that. So one more time, all the spirits created by God, they go through not the same path, because we have the free will, but we have the same chance, let's say, like this, the same opportunities.
So in Jimmy's earlier comment, where he was referring to angels in a human form, what came to my mind was my guardian angel or my guardian spirit. And in this question 129, when I add the component of the mission of my guardian spirit, it may be that my guardian spirit is not yet at the highest level. He is working towards it. She is working towards it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to confirm is I've been taught that the higher, in fact, we just read this in the earlier questions, the higher the level, the less materiality, the more ethereal the spirit becomes. So when Jimmy was talking about the elevated spirits and angels, I'm already accepting the fact that they are not in human form. They are in a what I call a ghostly form, a opaque form, that they're not as concentrated with material density as the lower spirits and the humans that exist on the planet.
Yeah, thank you for brought that, because there's 2-3 things that you have to understand here. You're right, what you're saying, but we have to think like this. What is material for us? It's probably something that we have no idea what I mean in other places. Places when I mean out of the earth, And yes, the more evolved they are, less material they become. But one more time, material, the way that we know, dense forms, human forms always will be human forms. I don't know if you talk about already this or you're going to talk about, but always will be human forms. But the spirit says more beautifully. I don't know what they mean by that. A human form that is beautiful more than we are. But yes, what we can understand for now, that they have the same forms, like eyes, nose, mouth, hands, but more beautifully and more ethereal. So always going to be human forms. But we have to understand, when you talk about human forms, you can talk about material as we are, and spirit. as the disincarnated, the ones that don't live on earth right now, they are. So there's two different things, but they still human forms. Like if somebody's in a spirit, I mean, it's a general example, okay? Because could be different. But if somebody with spirit, normally they're gonna be in a human form. Show eyes, mouth, hairs. Could be different, but you're gonna study this later. But two things, one more time. Material, as the way we know, but they call material, and we studied this already in the beginning of the book. What you guys call material has different meanings in the other places, but it's still material. What is material for you? It's just that you guys know here, but it's much more. And just second, yes, human forms always, but beautifully. What do they mean about that? I don't know, but I understand that it's something more appealing to the eyes, something like this.
In many published elements, there is this discussion about time, that to human beings, we think of time one way only, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, et cetera, et cetera. But the spirits reflect on time and manage their time differently.
Mm-hmm.
And again, what I have read is that, and I think it was possibly in Genesis, is that the elevated spirits, they're not even concerned about time.
Yeah, they don't.
The more elevated the time doesn't have a relevance to them. The mission is the mission, no matter how long it takes. But the lower the spirits, the more sensitive they become to time. They have urgencies, they quit when they are not successful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So time has a factor for we humans and the lower spirits that is not the same factor as the higher spirits.
No, that's...
And the last thing I want to say is I wanted to say as you were, and again, I'm asking for confirmation of what I've been taught. The reality for humans is that until we discarnate, and possibly until we advance, we can't possibly understand nor describe the other side. There's an entire vocabulary, there's entire sensations, there's different colors and densities and so on that we don't even understand as humans.
It's true. And it's so interesting because Genesis is amazing, amazing book that not a lot of people take the time to read. And it's very important to read that book. It's more on the science side if you go through deeply. But it's amazing. The explanation and the study that Kardec has with the spirits, of course, has made in this book. It's just phenomenal. And it's a sequence, after this, we go to the Medians book, and then you can start Genesis because it's part of one. But it's yes. So Mark, you are so right. And when you talk about another side and that we don't know for sure, I would say the other side that it's already the pure spirits. Why? Because the another side that it's a spirit that disincarnated like us, they are so attached in the material world that they have sometimes, and they have urgence of time, they have urgence of food, drink, people. So we are so close. The only thing that differs them to us is the body. When you talk about the purest spirits, then you're going to talk literally the other side that you have no idea, and they come here for sure. And you said my angel, my guard angel. You're right again. I don't know if there's a rule, but those spirits that goes with you every single day to help us, let's say this, protect and help us. they are more evolved than us, but they are not in the purest, because they were working towards their elevation too. They work towards their path. They already evolve at the point that they already have, they can help people, and that is a job for them to to continue in their path, so basically that. But definitely, let's put it like this, they know more than we do, and they help us. Let's say they're not Jesus Christ, but they help us a lot. So Mark, can you read 130?
If the opinion that acknowledges that some beings have been created perfect and superior to all others is wrong, why is this belief found in almost every population or religion? You need to understand that your world has not existed for all eternity. Long before it existed, masses of spirits had already attained the supreme degree. Therefore, the people on earth naturally assume that those perfected spirits have always been at the same degree of elevation. Wow, that's important.
That's really important to understand. And one great example that we have, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So everybody not everybody, but most of the people, they believe that Jesus came like that, and he was like that since the beginning of his creation. No, one day he was like us, and he had been evolved through the millenniums, and we are going, I don't think here we're going to study, but when Kardec put the degree of spirits in a methodic way, that just in order to us understand, because that's not like a rule, Jesus Christ is above pure spirits. Christus, they call Christus, is another order of spirits, another above the pure. And I was just thinking to myself, what on earth could be like pure? It's something that you have no idea what it is. Imagine something above pure spirits. And these spirits he's already came to earth incarnated. So in the process, to come to earth and incarnate, it's amazing to learn, but you can talk this later. But yes, they are not, every single spirit is created the same way. Probably the time of the creation of spirits is different, probably, but it's the same way. It says the spirits that came to earth on the day that Jesus Christ is incarnated, the spirits tells that those spirits are more than 6 billion years. Already 2,000 years ago, when they came, with Jesus, they were more than 6 billion years.
Before the earth.
Yep. Well, so based on that, I would like to read 131, because it's a huge question. It's a small question, but a huge explanation that Kardec put his point of view here and his studies that is amazing to understand. So do demons as commonly understood exist? So demons exist as commonly understood. Let's pretend that you don't know about good and bad spirits. All those religions or doctrines or philosophy has been taught, they have been teaching us about demons. They really exist. And the spirits answered, if demons existed, they would be God's work. Okay? If everything is God's work, everything, they would be God's work. Logical, right? Would it be just on the part of God to create beings eternally condemned to a life of wickedness and misery? then you have to, if you're thinking about that, like, what kind of God is that? If demons exist, it's in your low world and any others of a similar degree. People who represent a just God as being cruel and vindictive, and who believe they will receive God's approval through the misdeeds they committed are hypocrites. That's the way to say. Yeah,
Hypocrites.
right. Hypocrites. Thank you.
Hypocrites.
Hypocrites. It's the same word in Portuguese, kind of. So yes, they were pretty clear here. I'm pretty sure you guys already, know this. But for some people that have no idea, have this concept from old times about demons, Satan, this bad guy or bad spirit, if it exists, it would be God's creation. And what on earth? God's will create create somebody or a spirit to be condemned to a life of misery eternally. So the logical, if you start thinking, doesn't make sense. But of course, Kardec's go deep. And that's amazing, especially for people that study the Bible or think they do. The word demon only implies the idea of bad spirits in its modern acceptance. Its Greek root, daimon, signified genius or intelligence. So the word demons or daimon in Greek, the meaning is genius or intelligence. And genius, you can refer as spirits as well. They use in the past, in the ancient world, they use genius instead of spirits. Spirit, the word spirit is a new word actually. And it's applied broadly to all immaterial beings, whether good or bad. So if you go study what this word meaning, and if you want to just put in a proper way when explain something regarding demon, means immaterial beings, whether good or bad. So demons doesn't mean that the spirit are bad. It's just immaterial beings, spirits. Okay, so that's the word demon means. And if you study the Bible, you're gonna see this word a lot. But the important thing is to understand the meaning. Then the interpretation is gonna be more clear in our minds. Demons or devils, according to the popular meaning attributed, those words are, that is a hard word, allegedly, a class of beings that are fundamentally bad. So nowadays, if you talk about demons, you're gonna talk bad spirits, point. But we already learned that the word meaning, immaterial beings, whether good or bad. If they exist, they would be God's creation, just like everything else. However, a supremely just and good God would not have created beings predestinated to evil by their very nature and condemned to a life of eternal misery. If a father, a human father, don't do that to their child, to their children, why, God, will you do it? So there was the basic questions when you start learning those old ideas behind the Bible, because the Bible is not wrong. The interpretation, it is. The Bible is not wrong. The interpretation, it is. If they are not a creation of God, let's put it like this, because when they say bad is not a creation of God, well, let's think about it. If God's created everything, and let's put it that the demons or devils, they're not a creation of God, they must either have exist for all eternity, like God, or there must be several supreme beings. Then you have to step back and say, wait a second. If this theory of bad spirits are not a creation of God, so God is not a supreme being, is not a supreme something. power or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's really important to understand that. Why? Because if you're thinking about it, I mean, as we believe in God, okay? But you're gonna talk somebody that don't believe in God the way that I don't know, not the Bible, but the church put it like this. It's a simple questions that we can discuss with people like that and gonna make sense for them. Like this makes sense. Because God is just a word, you know. Actually, we don't know what is God. God is just a power that created everything that we know and is supreme on all the good aspects. And if God created everything, he would create a bad spirits. But why? Why God you would create good spirits and bad spirits? Is does not make more sense create everybody equal? And then we have the free will, and then we decide the path. So those is the basic of the basic things that has to make sense in our mind when it comes to talk about bad or good spirits, demon, evil, God. Good so far? You guys want to talk something? No? Oh, Samantha, you here?
I'm sorry. I just finished.
Okay, let's continue. And this is the part that regardless we're talking about it, if we're going to talk about spiritism or anything in the world, when you talk about theory, and I'm saying on the science part because everybody they have their theory that sometimes doesn't make sense at all, but for them make. But when I talk about science, study, heavily study, the first requirement of any theory is to be logical. Logical, okay? The idea that it postulates the existence of demons as commonly known lacks the cessation of condition. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. And I'm not talking, you don't need to be spiritist. I mean, it helps because I have the explanation, but you don't need to make those questions. And when we start, I mean, when people go any church or any religion, any philosophy, and they start to say that have the good angel, the bad angel, and the bad angel has fallen from the sky because this angel was against of God, was like, you know, as those tiny things that you have to ask yourself, it does make sense, this? Any theory must be logical. That's why when for people know about Kardec's life, he doesn't believe in God because it was not logical. And he was right. Must be logical. When you talk to somebody that studies science, a scientist, I mean, any kind, must be logical. And the more he studied, the more he went after the answers, the more logical it started to be for him. It's very, so that's why we have to be carefully when we study, when we read articles. I'm not talking about just this, anything in life, especially nowadays that we have internet and has so many information there that are like, oh, that's true. Go after and see if that's true. Must be logical. If somebody want to comment something, go ahead, okay? Do you want to say something, Jean?
It was more a question. Why do some negative spirits may not appear to be human?
Yeah, remember that I told you, let's put it there. Remember when I was explaining that a human, it's always going to be human forms, but could be different sometime. Okay, so this is a kind of question that's more advanced right now. Let's put it like this. But yes, it could be. Let's just like Chag says, long story short, let's put it like this. Everything that we created with our mind. Okay? Everything, being incarnating or disincarnated. But being a disincarnated, let's say we have more ability to transform things around. Let's say like this, okay? And yes, a spirits can appear to us the way that they want. The way that they want. But I'm pretty sure that you guys know a pure spirit, they're not going to appear like animals,
No.
you know, spiders or witches or demons, as we demons. But they can if they want to. And those spirits are those low, very low level spirits. However, we cannot say that they were not smart. They are smart, but morally saying, they have, you know, a huge path to grow. In a moral way, they're low level, but most of the time they're very smart. But yes, they can appear the way that they want to. But we're gonna study this on the Medium's book. They go more deep because, as I said, it's important to study the Spirit's book first to understand the Medium's book. Because when Kardec's starting deeply talking about mediumship and spirits, he's gonna refer so many questions or so many explanations to the Spirit book. So it's important, you know, to learn this first. But yes, they can appear the way that they want. But it's more, let's say, it has more explanation for that in details for sure. But you're gonna get there. But it's a good question though. Okay, it's natural that undeveloped is people who know nothing of God's attributes and profess the existence of malicious deities should also acknowledge the existence of demons. There we go. For people who acknowledge God goodness as an attribute per excellence, it will be illogical to presume that could have created beings destined to do bad deeds forever. So we were talking about two groups here. The one that know nothing of God's attributes that we already studied in the first chapter, in the first part of this book, God's attribute. Because, let's see here. I don't remember what it is. It's in the very beginning. The God attributes that Kardec talk about it. It's well, somewhere in the beginning. I can take this later, but the God attributes it. Basically, we don't know what is God, but what the spirits brought to us is what God's could not be. We don't know what is God in a sense, but we have the idea what God's could not be. Okay, so for the people that attributes the goodness of God, you know, think that God can create bad and good spirits for nothing, doesn't make sense. For the ones that don't have this knowledge yet, gonna make more sense. But it's just a matter of study and questions. Okay, this belief would conflict with God's goodness, the belief that God's created bad spirits. Those who believe in devils appeal to the words of Christ to support the theory. Look at that interest. The ones, those believe, these churches that believe in demons, devil, they go to the gospel to prove that idea. They go. But this is Kardec saying, far be it from us as spiritists to challenge the authority of his teachings, of Christ's teachings. which would be delighted to see practiced in the heart of humans rather than solely preached from their lips. So in order to practice something, you have to understand. So many people go to preach the Bible, but they have no idea what are they talking about it. And there's a fact. Are those advocates sure of the meaning attributed by Jesus to the word devil? So if somebody go to preach the Bible, but here it says in the Bible, it must be true. But if you question those people, like, but you know the meaning of this word? Do you know the meaning of this phrase? Probably they're going to say, well, yes, it is. It's, self-explanatory. It says here. That's why I said the Bible is not wrong. The interpretation it is. It's common knowledge that his teachings, Jesus' teachings and the Gospels contain many allegorical narratives that should not be taken literally. To prove that such is the case, we only need to see the following passage. And then Kardec takes this passage from the Gospel. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky and the powers of heavens will be shaken. Amen. I say to you, this generation will not pass until those things have taken place. If you take this literally, we're going to start thinking, okay, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give the light, and the stars are going to start falling from the sky. Oh my gosh, the end of the world. You have to understand the meaning of this. What did Jesus want to say? There is the point here. And then, Kardec, does science not contradict the Bible, particularly in reference to creation and the movement of the earth? Have the science does that, right? Because if the scientists go to the Bible and say, oh, the world was created in 7 days. What? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't. It's illogical. Science can prove mathematically that it's wrong. But what 7 days mean? Period of times. 7 period of times. There is the basic of the basic when we study something. Could this not also be the case as with other figurative expression employed by Christ to adapt his teachings to the time and place of his mission? We are talking about more than 2,000 years ago. They didn't have iPhones by then. They didn't have like TVs, airplanes. It's another situation world. So Christ has to adapt his words and his teaching for that time. That's logical. Christ would not have knowingly made a false statement. Therefore, if his words appear to contradict reason, either we do not understand their meaning or we have interpreted them incorrectly. Done. When you read something from the Bible and contradicting the reason, is because of two things. We do not understand, or our interpretation is wrong. When you study something like this, you have to go deep in the meaning of the words. Just as people have imagined angels as being created eternally perfect, they have also imagined that demons are lower spirits that were eternally bad. No. The word demon should be understood as indicating pure spirits who often are no better than imaginary beings implied by those names, but with the difference that their impurity is temporary. It's temporary, like us. One day we're going to be pure spirits. One day. They are imperfect spirits who defy the discipline of their trial and who must experience that trial for a longer period of time. That's it. So those spirits that want to continue themselves on the bad path, you know, doing bad things to them and to others, they're going to just take longer in the spirit of time, but it's not going to be forever. Nevertheless, they will ultimately reach the goal when they have decided to do so by their own free will. By their own free will. We decide our path. Demon could be used in this sense, but as commonly conveyed, the meaning that has now proven to be false. Its use could lead to error by appearing to knowledge the existence of beings specifically created for wrongdoing. Okay, so now we learned there is no spirit that was created bad. We always been, everybody, all the spirits and the whole thing was created equal. That's it. Not bad, not good. When they were created, we don't know, we don't have this answer. And why we were created, we don't know, we don't have this answer. But we know from the spirits that everybody was created equal. Then we have the free will to decide what to do. Some goes to the good path, others not that much. And then other word here, then I'm gonna comment, Jimmy, what you were talking about is some spirits, you know, just appear like, you know, not that good, not human forms. But Satan, as we know this word as well, is a personification of evil in a metaphorical form, because it's impossible to admit the existence of a malicious being fighting God. It's like, it's not going to be a fair fight, I assure you. And whose sole aim is to towards God's designs. To, you know, the only thing that spirits want, and he was created by God, is to go against God. It doesn't make sense. God's created a creature that goes against him. Why? Those are things that it doesn't make sense, you know. That's why Satan is just metaphorical form. That's it. As images and figures are needed to make a strong impact on the human imagination, people have adopted material forms for immaterial beings with attributes that suggest good or bad qualities. We do that. You know why we do that? We create good angels and Satan because those personification, those symbols, those figures, they are us. We just mirror this idea. You just mirror this idea. For bad and for good, because we have both sides. We do have both sides. In the past, human beings had personified time as an old man holding a scythe. That is the word.
Find it. Scythe.
And hourglasses. It's so true, right? Like those old books, if you read it, it's like this. The image of a young man would have contradicted common sense of this one that they created. The same may be said of the allegories of fortune, truth, and so on. We always have a symbol for that. Always have a symbol for that. Modern individuals have despised angels or pure spirits as radiant beings with white wings, a symbol of purity. No, probably they're not going to appear with white wings. And if they do, probably not that good. Just let you know, because they don't care about those formality. In contrast, Satan has horns, claws, and the attributes of bestiality, the beast, symbols of the lowest passions. That's so human, right? Creating a symbol of the bad and a symbol of the good. Human beings tend to take things literally and have mistaken those symbols for actual personalities. as they formerly regarded Saturn, you know, in the old Rome as the allegory of time. In the old Rome, Saturn was the god of time. Yes, my friends, basic that. So basically we learn it's important to understand the words, the meanings, the history, and then we're going to interpret it, the interpretation is going to be clear. But of course, we still human beings. Even though we study, sometimes you can do still doing wrong interpretation. But one more time, the Bible is not wrong. The interpretation it is. Whatever is that is there, you know. But wherever we're going to interpret this, it's the matter of study, understand the words. So, comments.
Thank you.
Jean?
Well, I think negative spirits need help too.
Oh, yeah.
They need help too.
They do. Oh, everybody does, right?
Yeah. Have you ever experienced them?
No, I mean, yes, but not myself. When you participated to the mediumship session, you know,
Uh-huh.
it's the support, but as mediums, you know, those people that just receive them, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say I already have experienced like interesting things. Very
I've
interesting things.
I've seen them on occasion, and I think to myself, I'm glad they're not even noticing me.
That's good because sometimes they do.
I know.
That's good. Yeah. When we started the mediums book, that was the time that we're going to talk more about those kind of spirits, and
Mhm.
we are just going to realize they were not different from us.
No, they're not.
You're not. The more better they do, of course, they put themselves far from the right path, but most of us one day we were there in the same position. Now we were in the position to help them.
So does Kardec believe that all of them have been or in a human incarnation at some point?
Yep.
Okay, so there's no negative entities of some other astral plane that were never human.
No.
Okay.
So has spirits, not most of them, or at least we don't talk to most of them, but has spirits that they persisted in evil, let's say like this, being an evil for a long and long and long time. And sometimes they were not from Earth. They're
Yeah,
from,
they're
yes, they were from other orbits, the other planets.
well,
Like,
that's what I was saying, that not
yeah,
all of
like
them.
Earth.
Yeah.
And that planet already was in another level of regeneration, you know, and they were just asked to be somewhere else. Like, if you guys don't fit anymore here, now you guys gonna learn in somewhere else,
Okay.
in someplace else. Let's see, someplace else. It's
Mm-hmm.
basically that. It's basically what happened to the Earth right now.
Okay.
You know, the time to decide which path you wanted to walk. But of course, I'm not talking about to be perfect. I'm talking about it just to try. The matter of trying, not to be Jesus Christ right away. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just like to give the effort to try, you know, because some spirits they don't want you. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not a problem. In the God's community, in the God's house, it has a room for everybody. There is not a problem. Everybody can learn in their own time. Do you want to say
Sue Ellen,
something more?
I just want to thank you very much for this last 2 minutes, because I now understand much better when people say, as an example, Trump is from another world, or Charles Manson was not of this world, or Adolf Hitler was not of this world. The reference is, the extreme is so ungodlike, unhuman.
Yeah, we don't know for sure who
Of course.
or who
Of
knows
course.
from that word or not,
Of course.
but
The
yeah,
not of this world. I mean, I feel like there's some significance to that phrase, because if in fact there can be spirits from another world, they can certainly influence the spirits in this world.
yes, from good or bad, definitely.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so many spirits from other world. I'm gonna say in Portuguese, but probably they have the name in English. From Capella, I don't know.
Capella.
You know, there was another word like Earth. Now it's a word that achieve a certain point, and they are in the level better than us. Let's say in the regeneration level. And the spirits that were not fitting this word, that they want to grow with the environment, they were just asking to, not be part of this world anymore. Now you guys have to go to someplace else to help this place to grow, because the knowledge that you guys have is going to be very useful to other words that is still in the process of growing the path. But doesn't mean they were like enlightened spirits. Some enlightened spirits came to earth, like the Egyptians, the Egyptians, the Hebrews. They are from Capel, the Hebrews, Egypt, Chinese, but I'm not saying those one right now, the ones in the very beginning. Chinese, what else? Has two more ethnic. They were like from Capel, but in the beginning, not right now. I'm not saying like the ones that are in Egypt right now, but the ones in the beginning. They came to help the earth, in their development, to evolve. Some are not that happy because they were not, they don't want to. Some are very happy to help, but everybody has opportunity. Everybody has an opportunity. I would say we have the free will, but we have to take wisely our free will. But I think, yes, that's for now. I know we can like talk about this hours and hours and hours. That's a very interesting subject, but it's gonna get more interesting. You guys gonna know, you guys gonna see. And I think that's it for now. Anybody else wanna comment something? Samantha?
Sorry, guys, that I was late. I'm still at work, but I appreciate the readings. It is always beneficial, even if it's just a little bit.
Oh, by the way, next Samantha with the gospel. All right, so any volunteer should do the final pray? Mark, Jean, Samantha.
I can do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and close our eyes. Fill our heart with gratitude for tonight's lesson. Gratitude for the friends. Gratitude for the teachings. Gratitude for us to have a roof over our head. For the meal in our tables. For our health. For all the blessings that we receive every day, and we take so many of them for granted. Let's not forget our brothers and sisters that are living on the streets, that are hungry, sick, that need so much and have so little. Let's never forget that. Let's do what we can to help them with our prayers, with our good thoughts, with our energy. Material things as well are important, but not so much as our spiritual help that we can provide to them. To all the ones in need around us, that they might find the light that we are able to provide with the pure prayer that comes from our heart. Let's thank one more time all the spiritual friends that are here with us. The beginning again of these Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, we meet our friends. We have this hour to talk about the gospel, to talk about the important things in life that sometimes we forget during a week because we're so busy, but they are so important as well to fulfill our hearts. Thanks to everyone that is here, and so be it. Thank you. See you guys next Tuesday.
Thank you, everyone, for so much.
Have a blessed week, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Be well.